What's going on, everybody? It's Achilles WT coming at you with something different for the channel that I've actually entertained doing. At least I've thought about doing before. That I figured why not try and do something a little bit different and actually share it with you guys. But this is something that I'm going to be calling situational awareness, where I will be showing a replay of one play in particular and running through exactly what it is that I see as the play is going on, or I'm going to hold the play on pause before it actually happens, run through the things that I'm thinking about like in that moment, what the things that I'm seeing, whether they're good plays or bad plays. This play in particular is going to be a bad one, but it's definitely a situation that I come across a lot when I play, and it's something that I wanted to put on the channel because I've mentioned it before, this whole fine line between not focusing tanks and focusing tanks, and this is one of those situations where that kind of debate came up after this specific play went down. Now, you're gonna notice with this scenario in particular, three of our teammates were dead. We just got into a team fight with the other team. We only took out Diablo, and they wiped out the rest of us. And the only play we really had at this point, because me and the Morales were able to get away from that fight alive, barely, but we were able to get away. So really, the only play we had was to try and contest this top temple up here, where we knew they had a Leoric, as you can see, and a Jaina. Now, coming into this situation, the thing that you're gonna notice that excuse me. The thing that you're going to notice that's already a little bit suspect is that the Morales chooses to actually take point on this kind of situation, despite the fact that she's a healer. She is not a damage dealer of any kind. She's not a tank, and yet she decides to run up and initiate the entire fight herself rather than just wait 1 or 2 seconds. I'm like literally right behind her. All she has to do is excuse me, all she has to do is wait for me to pass, and this becomes a winnable situation. Now, the other thing I want to point out about the situation that I'm always mindful of whenever I come across it is the Leoric Jaina combo, where both heroes have a very, very, very viable way of slowing you down whenever they hit you, and when you pair that up, specifically when you pair up the fact that Leoric can be used to initiate attacks and slow people down, he makes everything so much easier for Jaina to follow up and basically just use all of her abilities on an isolated target and get a very easy kill. Now, mind the positioning here. From this angle, immediately there's no way, because we couldn't really see the Jaina in the bush at the time of like at this point of the game. We knew she was around, but we didn't necessarily know she was in that bush. Now, running into this temple, you're immediately going at a Leoric. And now, when I hit play on this specific scenario, you're gonna see that because Morales chose to initiate before letting me go in, she gets caught in an entomb right away that keeps me at a distance, and basically leaves Morales as a sitting duck for Leoric to cast his slow and to use his life drain, which is what he does, and then for Jaina to be on the back end to put even more damage on this hero. Now, why would I bring all of this situation to your attention if you're watching this video? Because even if the situations were reversed and this was flip-flopped, the thing that people don't understand, and this is a case with a lot of tanks, but I'm going to be in specific with a Leoric in this situation. With Leo, generally he always initiates with his Q ability, with his swing, which not only does damage, but it casts slow on you. So let's say that Leoric was standing right here. If I was in Morales' position, Leoric is right here, and Jaina can rotate to get to the back spot over here. Try to stay with me on this. A lot of people say the general rule of thumb is never to focus the tank. Whenever you come across a situation where the tank is in the front spot, which would be here, and the squishies would be in the back, which would be here, they expect you to just walk right past the tank and go straight for the easy target as far as health goes. They want you to go straight for the squishy, and they don't want you to focus the tank, which is right here. The problem with that when it comes to a Leoric, and again, this is just in particular to Leoric, because other tanks have ways of making the same play happen. I'm just talking about Leoric here. The problem is if Leoric is standing right here and I'm the one initiating this attack, if I try to walk past him, he can hit me with the Q. By the time I get here, I'm already slowed. And on top of that slow, he can hit me with Draining Hope. Now, mind you, Sonya is not a conventional tank at all, but she still is qualified. She still is classified as a tank, which means she has a higher health pool than a typical DPS player. So, Leoric's Draining Hope ability is at its best when it's used on other tanks. So, not only am I slowed, if I try to run past him, going back to the situation, to the scenario, if I try to walk past Leoric, who's standing right here, and I'm here, and I try to walk past him, not only do I get hit by a Q by the time I get here, but now he's draining my health pool at the same time. Now, after that, you would think, okay, well, that's not so bad because you have Morales here, but if I'm slowed at this point right here and I'm losing health, the Jaina player is able to still cast every single spell, and mind you, every time Jaina hits you with a spell, it adds even more of a slow, which is why this duo between Leoric and Jaina, you might remember that the Squadron guys did a video, a Heroes Unite video with these two in particular. That's the reason why they did it, because these two cast a crazy effective slow tandem on any hero that they both touch. It's basically a guaranteed kill if both players know what they're doing. Now, getting back into what happened here, I actually didn't mention it when I started talking about this, but the Morales user was making a lot of suspect plays the entire game. And if you'll notice the team composition, it was myself, a Sonya, a Nazebo, a Malfurion, an Arthas, and a Morales. Now, you might think that's a little weird that we have two healers, and you might be right by saying that because the Malfurion user made it clear at the start of the draft process that they were going to pick a healer, and this player, who ended up being a suspect player the entire game, said nothing. And our Malfurion was showing a Karazim and a Malfurion just going back and forth the entire time. And even before he made the pick, he left it on Malfurion, and this player still elected to pick a Morales. So, should have took that as a sign that this was going to be a suspect game. Now, getting back into why I brought that up, you see the options we have here. I picked Sonya after I saw that our other player picked Arthas. I was actually the last pick on the team, and at that point, when you see two healers, a Zebo and an Arthas, you're really lacking in damage necessarily, because Zebo is still strong as shit, but his spiders have been nerfed to a certain extent where he's not the monster that he used to be necessarily, or he's not the guaranteed monster that he used to be, but he's still a monster regardless. So I decided to go for a frontline pick and add a little more damage, seeing as we had two healers. I figured if I had two people healing me at the same time, there's really nothing to worry about, because that's the only thing that could really stop Sonya is if she gets focused down and dies really fast. But with two healers on the team, I wasn't worried about it. Now, add on the fact that the second player picked the Morales, and I was expecting them to go stim, which they did. You see the rest of this lineup. The logical choice to stim on this roster, not because I'm using her, but because it makes sense, is Sonya. There is no better option on this group to stim other than Sonya. And this Morales user made a case saying that the Zebo was the best option because the auto attack adds poison. Now, is that accurate? Sure. He does poison his targets when he auto attacks. That does not mean that he's an auto attack heavy hero. Sonya is actually not an auto attack heavy hero, but she's a little bit in the middle ground because Seismic Slam has a 1 second cooldown. That means she goes back and forth between Seismic Slams and auto attacks. And when you stim her, she goes through the entire process that much faster. A stimmed Sonya is a scary sight when used right. And this Morales user flat out stimmed everybody on the team multiple times and only stimmed me once the entire game, and did not see what they were doing wrong there. So getting back into this play, I just want to point out how suspect this player was. So again, just reviewing this before I start this. She initiated rather than waiting for me to initiate as the lead damage dealer here, / tank if you want to be technical. And again, when we're going to hit play, you're going to see that she's going to get caught in an entomb, which forces me to try and switch to a frontline role in the sense of trying to take Leoric's attention off of our Morales. And that's really the only play I have. Again, with Morales taking the bulk of the damage, even if I try to wrap around this way to get to the Jaina user, they are still going to combine to double team me the same exact way that you're going to see them double team the Morales, and then you get a 2-for-1 situation where both of us die. Now, watch how this plays out, and then watch what my teammates say when they see what I'm doing, and you'll see the exact point of me making this video. See, she initiates. She gets caught in an entomb, drain hope. Look at all that damage. Again, all I can do is try and peel. She's already dead. And you see me getting hit by the slow, and I can't do anything. I'm already slowed. I cannot catch that hero, and now I am going to proceed to catch shit from my teammates in the chat because they think that I'm focusing the tank. Now we're going to pause it again. There is a bigger picture to a lot of these situations, and people don't seem to understand that. For whatever reason, they stick with day one strats when they play these kind of games. And like a day one strat, what do I mean by that? Well, a day one strat would basically mean like focus the damage dealers and don't focus the tanks. But there are situations where focusing a tank is exactly what you have to do. There are no other viable plays at all. If you try to stick to basic strats in certain situations, you will get wiped out rather easily. That play that I just showed you right there, if I would have tried to run past the Leoric, you saw how fast they took out Morales. There is nothing that you saw right there that would lead you to believe that I could have gotten to Jaina, did enough damage to kill her and not die myself. Or even, or like, there's no way I would have gotten that kill. There's no way. The minute Jaina uses a spell on you, you have a slow casted on you. So it just makes it that much easier for her to just run away. And meanwhile, if you keep chasing after her while you're slowed, eventually Leoric comes back into the picture and the whole process starts all over again. Again, there is just a bigger picture to a lot of these situations that a lot of players don't see. They don't realize. And going into that scenario, already I was computing the fact that that tandem was waiting up there. Anytime you see a Jaina Leoric tandem and Leoric is in the front, you have to be mindful of that. You have to respect the fact that he can cast a slow and basically set up that kill for Jaina rather easily. No matter what you do, you have to respect that. You can't just walk right past him. And again, this is only, in particular, this is only me talking about Leoric. There are other scenarios with other tanks in the game where it is the same exact thing, but in a different way. Like some scenarios, you have to absolutely respect the fact that the tank is on the front. You cannot just ignore them and walk past them. Basically, I mean, I'm gonna do a number of these. I'm sure I'm gonna run into this situation because I run into this situation all the time where people don't seem to understand why I do some of the things that I do. And now that I'm experimenting with this on the channel, maybe this is something that I'm going to showcase a little more. And hopefully it's something that maybe you could, I'm not expecting everybody to agree with me on what I'm saying right now, but at least as a viewer, hopefully it's something that you enjoy to see. It's something a little bit different, and it's just something new to bring to the channel. As always, this is Achilles LBT. I will be keeping an eye out for situations like this. Again, these will be situational awareness videos, and hopefully it gets a good response. I appreciate the support as always. This is Achilles LBT. It's Achilles with a Z. Remember it.